welcome back to another episode of Ball Don't Lie. I'm your host, Jacob Fraser, with my co-host, Cam Connolly, and today we're going to be going over the past week in the NBA, making our standings predictions for the season, another weekly MVP and LVP, and then we're going to shift over to some college basketball with the start of a new NCAA season. After that, we'll finish off with our Canadian Hooper highlight, but before we get into it today, how's it going, Cam?
Good, man. Good. I'm excited. As you know, we're Canadian. Pretty fired up for this Jays game that's happening in 3 hours. Hoping that they can end this terrorist run by the Dodgers, but who knows?
For sure, man. Yeah, I'm excited to watch that one tonight. But let's dive into the weekly recap here. So there's 4 undefeated teams. If I told you that the Thunder were undefeated to start the year 2 weeks into the season, wouldn't be super surprising. The Spurs maybe a little bit more surprising, but Victor Wembanyama, another year into his NBA career, takes another step. That team's getting better and better. But the Chicago Bulls and the 76ers are the 2 other teams that are currently undefeated. What are your thoughts on just both those teams being undefeated? I think we can agree. I don't even know if I had either of them penciled in as a playoff team. I know we're only 4 or 5 games into the season, but just a crazy start from both those teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls, but what? Have the Bulls won 4 in a row in the last 10 years? I don't know. And as far as the Sixers, I mean, if you told me this last year, I'd believe you, but this year it's like they did a complete 180. Expectations got low, and all of a sudden they're 4-0. But when expectations were high, what didn't they start like 0-8 last year or something like that? So it is really weird, I guess you could say, to see this. I mean, obviously the emergence of VJ Edgecombe as the guy all of a sudden, and Tyrese Maxey's playing really well, and they didn't even have Jared McCain back. I don't even know how he's going to fit into that team. It's definitely interesting. I didn't expect this.
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted Maxey and VJ Edgecombe there. Like, if you were to tell me that the 76ers were going to be this unbelievable team to start the season, I would have thought, okay, Joel Embiid is back, he's healthy, and he's back to that MVP caliber player. I would have never expected for VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey to be playing at the elite level that they are. Obviously, Maxey has shown he can play at an elite level before, but not to this caliber. But
And you
yeah,
could
I
say the
mean,
same about Paul George too. Like if you told me this, I would
yeah,
have thought Paul George found his game again. But
yeah,
never in a million years would I have imagined that this is how it would have went.
definitely. Let's shift over here to the Pacers on the opposite end of the spectrum. 0-4 to start the season. Obviously, no Tyrese Halliburton, got injured in Game 7 of the finals last year. Probably going to miss the entire season this year, if not a large majority of it. And then they lose Miles Turner in free agency. Like, what do the Pacers do here? Is it just this season's just call it quits and try to build for next year?
I mean, I feel like that was kind of everyone's mood the second everyone saw Hallie go down. It's you better win this game because you're not going to be back here for a while, especially if Hallie, I mean, obviously he's out for the year, but if he doesn't return to what he is, I don't know if he'll even be able to get back to that the team back to that level. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not very surprising. I don't think that Miles Turner is actually that big of a piece of the team. I think that it is truly Tyrese Halliburton is just the ultimate floor raiser. Like the way that he plays the game, he brings teams together and can elevate people like not very many people that we've seen. And I know he gets a lot of flack for not always scoring the ball, but I mean, when you lose a playmaker like that, he's really, really hard to replace. And yeah, like I can't say I'm surprised by this 0-4 start.
Yeah, I mean, one guy that I expected to take a step this season was Andrew Nemhard, and I just pulled up his stats here. He's only averaging 4 points per game, 4 assists a game. But another Canadian on the Pacers, Benedict Mathurin, is maybe one of the few bright spots on that team right now. We highlighted him last week as part of our Canadian Hooper highlight, but he's really elevated his game and is becoming like a bona fide go-to scorer for them. What have
Yeah,
you seen from those two?
I mean, the unfortunate thing about a guy like Benedict Mathurin is I kind of see him in the same kind of category as you could put a guy like Cam Thomas, and unreal scorer, not always the most efficient, and I don't know if it's the style of player that can really succeed on a playoff team. Like Cam Thomas, unbelievable player, really fun to watch, and he has the famous like ain't shit funny, but I mean Benedict Mathurin is kind of in the same category. Really fun, really exciting, but does his style really translate onto a playoff team? When he's the guy, I don't think so. Obviously, we know he can be a secondary supplementary player on a playoff team as we saw last year, but I don't think he can be a top two kind of guy. I'm a little disappointed in that Pascal can't carry the weight either, honorary Canadian.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, let's shift over a little bit of a tone change here. Really unfortunate news for Nikola Topic and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Topic is going to be out for, I would assume, the rest of the season with testicular cancer. Just such an unfortunate diagnosis. I guess just your thoughts on the start to his NBA career. Like it's going to be an uphill battle for him to climb.
Yeah, I can't think of a more unlucky start to a career besides maybe Len Bias. I mean, yeah, just a really rough start for him. I mean, he missed the entire last year with injury, and he's the pretty much the only addition that anyone made to that OKC team. I think he actually is the only technical addition to anyone that is even going to play minutes, maybe even roster wise technically. And just to see this happen, I mean, it's so unfortunate. I think I read that the doctors are pretty positive and think that he'll be able to like clear it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, kind of a similar case. They kind of think of John Mechie in the NFL, and he was a pretty big prospect, but he got that unfortunate. I think it was leukemia, and he just kind of never recovered, which is pretty unfortunate. But hoping that Nikola Topic can turn his career around.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a quote here from Mark Dagno, just saying that he's doing great given the circumstances and the team's got his back. So wishing the best for Topic and just hoping that he can get to health. All right, let's shift over here to some standings predictions. So we're going to go through each conference here, 1 through 6, and then we're going to pick our 4 teams, not necessarily in order, but just 4 teams in each conference to make the play-in. So let's start off with you in the East. Who's your number 1 seed?
I think that Cleveland will probably be the number one seed again. I mean, they're not in first place right now, but I wouldn't say I'm worried about them recovering the eventual crown of the East.
Yeah.
I, I don't know if you would agree, but
Yeah, I had the same thought. I've got Cleveland as my number 1. Yeah, I mean, they're just too talented to be really outside of the top 3 even, and a 3-2 start's not a bad start by any means. So
yeah.
I'm not worried about them. And then I've got the New York Knicks as my number 2 seed.
Did you look at my paper, dude?
I
I
didn't.
mean, I've got the New York Knicks at number two, and I am a little bit more worried about the Knicks start than the Cavs start, especially with a coaching change.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that just roster wise on paper that I would actually argue that on paper they're the best team. I mean, you don't have to necessarily agree with what I'm saying, but I think they're the best team on paper. I see them offend in real life being the two seed.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're maybe a little bit deeper than the Cavs. I guess that's something you could argue too, but the Cavs just have that star power that I don't think the Knicks can really match up against. Obviously, Jalen Brunson, but after that, you've got a bunch of like good secondary pieces, but nothing super elite, I'd say. Number 3, I've got the Milwaukee Bucks. They've started the season off really well, and Giannis is just that next level player that can drag a team like the Bucks to a 3 seed.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with you there, but I actually did go in a different direction. I went with the Orlando Magic. I think that this is a year where they're going to take a huge step. I mean, they're showing a lot of signs. Paulo is looking like a legit guy, and I do think that they're a really young and up and coming force in the East.
Who's your 4?
I have the Toronto Raptors. All right, you
Really?
can you can call me biased, and maybe it is biased, but I truly think they're going to figure it out, especially if Brandon Ingram stays healthy. I really think they're going to figure it out. I wouldn't put it past their management group to make a move and maybe acquire a guy who kind of becomes disgruntled. I saw a tweet today. I can't remember if it was from Shams. It might have been, but it said that need to track Luca. No, not Luca. Sorry, you need to track LeBron, someone else, and Giannis. And maybe, just maybe, I mean, I know Giannis had ties to the Raptors. I know it was kind of through Masai Ujiri, who's not there anymore. But maybe that seed is still kind of growing in his brain. And hopefully, as a Raptors fan, maybe he'll end up in Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Giannis say that he was going to move back to Greece once his NBA career is done?
Yeah.
Doesn't want to be in America anymore. Maybe he wants to come up to Canada.
Yeah, hopefully.
I've got the Miami Heat in my four spot. I just think they've got a lot of depth. Bam Adebayo's a solid player, Tyler Hero, and then they have Andrew Wiggins. Like, I think they're a deep enough team that they can be a solid four seed this season. And then at my five spot, I've got the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, coming sixth last season. I think they're going to take another step. Cade's an elite point guard. Yeah, I see the Pistons being one of those younger teams that can take another step this year.
Yeah, I mean, in my five, I have the Bucks, and then in my six, I have the Pistons to match you there. I think that, like you said, Cade is legit, and I kind of see them as Orlando of last year. They kind of took a step last year, but I think they were just a little bit ahead of themselves. I think that this is the year where they make the real building block, and then next year is when they can make their push.
Right. I've got the Orlando Magic in my sixth spot. I'm just not encouraged by the start to this season. Obviously, Paolo is such an elite player, but I don't know. They're 2-4 to start the year. Obviously, it's like such an overreaction to be like, oh, they're not going to be an elite team because they started the first six games 2-4. But I think they still have some building to do around Paolo. I don't necessarily love the fit between Paolo and Wagner. Just isn't my favorite fit in the league. So I think there's going to be some growing pains there for the next couple of years until they really decide to build around Paolo. And so, yeah, I've got them in my sixth seed. But who are your four play-in teams?
All right. In no specific order, I have the Celtics. I mean, they have championship pedigree. If they don't make the playoffs, I would bet my whole entire financial prop assets on them making the play-in. I have the Atlanta Hawks because they live in the play-in. I have the Chicago Bulls because why not? They're fun. And my shocker pick, I am in love with this team right now, and their record might not say it. The Charlotte Hornets. All right, I am in love with this team. LaMelo Ball might be my favorite player in the entire league, and I mean Miles Bridges. I don't agree with him off the court, but on the court, I love his game. We don't need to talk about his off the court stuff, but I, I love that team. Kalkbrenner's playing really good,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe there's some direction in Charlotte. I don't know. I don't know if you'd agree, but
Yeah, I don't have them as a play-in team, but I definitely see the potential there. Like they've been building for a few years. Brandon Miller there as well. He's coming into his own as a scorer, at least last season. Um, but yeah, I really like them. But my four play-in teams, I matched you with the Hawks, matched you with the Celtics. But then I have the 76ers and the Raptors in play-in spots. I think just the way that the 76ers are playing, you mentioned without Jared McCain, without Joel Embiid at his best, without Paul George necessarily being like a super good like third option, just VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey, the way that they've been able to play, you assume that some of those guys will figure it out as the year goes along. A lot of vets take a couple games to get into midseason form. So I think the Sixers are an exciting team that's got a good shot at making the play-in this year.
yeah.
Um, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say my fear is that they're running a guard-heavy lineup and they're gonna add another guard in. Those teams are historically easier to solve than other teams. I mean, I don't have the Sixers in my plan, and maybe it's because my expectations were so low coming into the year that I'm just still not a believer. Especially when you look at a guy like VJ Edgecombe who is playing really well, but he is a rookie, and
Hmm.
rookies are very very volatile. So if he keeps this up, then don't get me wrong, they're gonna make it. But I need to see it for longer.
Yeah, I don't see VJ Edgecombe being like a 23 point per game guy all season like he is now, but I I definitely can see him like he's going to have some growing pains. There's going to be games where he's not at his best and he puts up a 10 point on 20% shooting performance and like it's not obviously what you want, but I I just think the way that he's played, he's put himself in a position where he's earned more opportunity, more minutes, and kind of taken a load off the rest of the guys on this team that they can kind of save themselves a little bit for later on in the year. Like Embiid's the load management. Like you look up load management in the dictionary, it's Joel Embiid is the photo, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah, I
yeah.
think
We
I
got
just
opposite takes.
that's fair. Let's shift over to the West. I think we both probably have the same number one seed, OKC. They're not going anywhere.
No, unfortunately. I mean, I love Shea, but I also like to see change, unless it's the
Yeah,
Golden State Warriors, as I am also a Warriors fan. But aside from that, I mean, it would be nice to see some change, but I mean, let's be honest.
yeah, definitely. I've got so my 1 and 2 is actually the 1 and 2 in the West right now. I've got the Spurs as my 2 seed. They start the year 5-0. We talked about Wemby a lot last episode, and then just he's continuing to put up elite performance after elite performance. I said last episode I think he's going to be an MVP candidate this year, and I think he actually will win MVP this year. We'll do award predictions next week, I think, but yeah, I see the Spurs taking a huge step. They're such a good roster. They're deep. They've got that star power. They've got the makings of a top 2 seed for me.
Yeah, I also have the Spurs in the two, and everything you said, plus they're 4-0 without De'Aaron Fox even in the lineup yet.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're adding a guy like De'Aaron Fox, I mean, and you're already 4-0, like that is ridiculously scary. And if I don't think the Cavs are going to touch OKC for number one overall record in the league, I think if there's any team that threatens them right now, it's the Spurs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. My number 3, I've got the Denver Nuggets. I might actually, well, no, I'm not, but the top 3 at least. I'm following the current Western Conference standings. But yeah, the Nuggets, Jamal Murray coming off a crazy week. We're going to talk about him a bit later in the show. But him and Nikola Jokic are looking like that same duo that won an NBA championship just a few years ago. So I've got them as my 3 seed.
Yeah, I actually went in a different direction. I stayed in Texas, and I think that Houston is going to figure it out. Now, obviously, they haven't had the best start. I think they're below 500 at this
Mm-hmm.
moment. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah.
But KD is a known home wrecker, and that is my only concern with this pick. But I mean, when you just look at the roster, like it is a very scary, very talented roster that if they can figure it out in any type of form, they are pretty easily a top three seed for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Who's your 4?
I have the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy
Okay.
Butler is looking like his old self. Steph Curry is showing a little bit of signs of aging, but he's still looking very good. He doesn't look like he's 36. He looks like he's maybe 33. But I mean, I don't know. The pedigree is there. Steph Curry is a proven winner in this league, and I mean, maybe it's a little bit of a bias. I'll just put the Raptors at 4, but yeah, I think I'm hoping at least that they'll be there.
Yeah, I've got the Lakers in my 4 seed. I just think Luka Doncic, elite player, LeBron James. They obviously they're not a deep team. I've talked a lot about these other top teams and their depth, and the Lakers are not that same team. But when you have Luka Doncic and LeBron James on your team, it's hard to argue against the fact that they aren't a threat at least to be a top 4 seed in the West.
Yeah, except
Um,
for last year.
well, I mean, last year, like Luca gets added late in the season or later on in the season, and just things didn't mesh well right away.
Can
But I,
can
I think
LeBron take the
it'll turn.
sidestep though?
Yeah, I think he can. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No,
No.
fair enough. I mean, well, when they won the championship, like AD was kind of the guy,
Yeah, but LeBron had AD there and he picked AD to be his guy. I don't
right?
think he was really behind that trade. I don't
The
think
GM wasn't behind the trade.
I think he was blindsided by it, and I think that's kind of why the team fell apart a bit.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's fair, but I don't know. Luka Doncic is top three player in the league, so.
That's fair.
Minnesota Timberwolves are my number 5 seed. Ant Edwards, obviously elite player again. I just, yeah, it's kind of similar to last season. We're going to see another Lakers T Wolves matchup for me, but T Wolves move up a spot, Lakers move down a spot. And yeah, I think the Timberwolves are always going to be a threat in the West with Anthony Edwards on their team.
Yeah, I have the Nuggets in my 5, and then I have the Timberwolves at my 6. I mean, you've already pretty much said everything that I kind of hope to say. Jokic and Jamal Murray, very good. Will be very threatening as a 5 seed, and you can say the same about the Wolves with Ant and Dr. J, Julius Randle.
My 6 is the Memphis Grizzlies. John Morant. Obviously, they lose Desmond Bain, but I'm not too worried about that loss for them. They were, I think, yeah, 8 seed last year. If I'm not mistaken, was it last year that Ja missed a lot of time? I think it was, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So,
Well, he missed a lot of time in pretty much every year, whether injury or suspension.
yeah, that's true. So, I think if you get a full year of John Morant, you'll be a threat to make the playoffs rather than the play-in. And then my 4 play-in teams, I've got the LA Clippers, the Dallas Mavericks, Houston Rockets, and the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah. For me, I got the Clippers, Memphis, Mavericks, and Lakers, unfortunately. I really wanted to put the Pelicans in there and actually have the Pelicans written down, but I had to put the Lakers in there.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm very anti-Laker, very anti-LeBron, but I mean, Luka Doncic is a really good basketball player. If they don't make the play-in, then they need to sell the team, move out of LA, and throw everything in the garbage. Burn down the, what is it, crypto.com arena? Is that what it's called now?
Yeah.
Burn it down and restart.
I think we have the same 10 teams in the West
I wouldn't be surprised by that, actually.
in
I
different
think we
orders,
do.
but yeah, I think we have the same 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the West is just such a difficult conference and there's so many good teams. So I think you can kind of see who the bottom feeder teams in that conference are, and it's easy to process elimination, take out some of those teams. Let's shift over to our MVP and LVPs of the week. I will start with my MVP. I've got Tyrese Maxey. We talked about him a fair bit earlier on. 3 games, 36.7 points per game, 9 assists per game, 4.3 rebounds on 43% field goal percentage and 38% from 3. The team is obviously undefeated with Tyrese Maxey leading the way. I just such a unbelievable run for him and the 76ers, like we talked about earlier on in the show.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to pick Tyrese Maxey, but unfortunately he was already taken. And I mean, this guy, I'll shout out to the guy in my group. I met him last year and we're in the same education class. Hayden Copes or Copes. I don't know how to say it, but Tyrese Maxey jersey, shows up to our Zoom meeting, pulls up the Tyrese Maxey jersey and put me on right away. Tyrese Maxey, very good player. Shout out to Hayden. Having a great week. Hopefully you can continue this, Tyrese. Yeah, and then my MVP this week, I mean, I'm pretty much contradicting everything I said in the last segment, but Austin Reeves, man, like what a week from that guy. 3 games, 40 points a game. Like he had a 50 burger, he had 39, and he had somewhere in between, I believe. Or maybe I'm mixing up with Maxi stats. All I know, 40 points a game without LeBron, without Luka, like unbelievable. While LeBron is sitting in LA watching the Dodgers, he didn't travel to Minnesota, right? He didn't travel. What a selfish guy. Doesn't even want to go cheer on his teammates. Like, dude, are you really putting yourself higher in the team you want to go watch the LA Dodgers game? Come on, man. Like, you're a part of a team. You're selfish. This is why you'll never be the greatest of all time. You have your teammates picking up your slack because you suck. I don't know, man. Austin Reeves, I'm really happy for Austin Reeves, undrafted guy, averaging 40 points per game. Like, wow. But LeBron, I'm disappointed in you. How are you not on the bench to celebrate your teammate? My LVP of the week is very unfortunate as I am a fan of this guy, but I also have him on my fantasy team, and he had just a piss poor week. And it is Josh Hart. 3 games, 3.3 points per game. I mean, he did average 7 rebounds a game, which I'll give you a little bit of credit for, and 4 assists per game, which is whatever. But man, 3.3 points per game, dude. And it's not, yeah, he is coming off a back injury. He is on somewhat of a minutes restriction. He doesn't look like himself. But dude, if you're gonna be eating minutes away, you cannot be averaging 3.3 points per game. I don't really care what anyone says. That is not good enough.
Yeah, he was actually someone that I had thought about putting in as my LVP, but I saw the 7 rebounds per game. I mean, he's not a go-to scorer. Like
No.
he's maybe their fifth or sixth option for scoring, right? So, but yeah, three like you say, 3.3 points per game, even if that's your fifth option, you want Josh Hart averaging at least like somewhere around 10 at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say at the bare minimum, you want him around 7, and 3 is not gonna get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I'll shift over to my LVP. Mine is Domantas Sabonis. The Sacramento Kings are off to an abysmal start. Sabonis 12.5 points per game. Yes, he's averaging good amount of rebounds. But over this past week, 4 games played, like I said, 12.5 points per game, 13 rebounds a game, but shooting 22% from three and averaging almost 3 turnovers this week as well as a big. I know he's more of a playmaking big. He's not your traditional center, but yeah, I'm not encouraged by the points and the turnovers from him.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I also have him on my fantasy team. I actually just moved him, so I hope everyone is happy for me. Shout out to Steven for taking him off my hands. But there's a running joke between me and a few guys in our fantasy league, and it's we want nothing to do with the Kings organization. I mean, I don't know what it is about that organization. They had the one good year where they took the Warriors to 7, and then Steph Curry gave them 50 in Game 7 and broke them all over again. It's unfortunate if you're a Sacramento Kings fan. I know one Sacramento Kings fan, Gerke. Sorry, Gerke. They're not going anywhere. You're just going to be in for 10 more years of pain.
Yeah, I'm not encouraged what I see from the Kings this year. Obviously, they were a play-in team last year, but yeah, neither of us had them in the play-in this year. I think they might have a high draft pick, and that is a good segue over to the start of the college basketball season. I'm excited for it. I love NCAA basketball. You can see I'm wearing my Providence Friars shirt. Went on a visit there a few years ago, and yeah, I'm just so pumped for this college basketball season to start. And I just wanted to highlight some freshmen. Obviously, these are names that everyone who's a NBA fan should have heard of by now. But Darren Peterson, combo guard, playing for Kansas. They're the 19th ranked team. AJ Dibansta, he's a good wing player, 8th ranked BYU. Cam Boozer, forward at 6th ranked Duke, and Nate Amen, forward at 18th ranked Tennessee. This year's draft class is really exciting. There's 3 legit guys that could go number 1. I think Darren Peterson is pulling away in the preseason here, but still yet to play any games. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I mean, if you're a team like the Sacramento Kings, you've got to be okay with tanking a little bit, seeing Peterson, Dibansta, and Boozer eligible for the draft this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unreal freshman class this year. Like, Cam Boozer just had a crazy game. I can't remember his exact stat line, but I was reading the comments, and the comments were like, any other year, this guy would be the first overall pick, and this year he's going to be 3. Like, it's ridiculous. AJ Dibansta, a freak athlete. We've all seen the clip of him on the baseline windmill. Like, how do you even do that? And how do you do that at the age of 17 years old? And then Darren Peterson speaks for himself. I mean, I don't even know how to sum him up. Like, just an unbelievable player. Any team that had landed a top three pick this year is going to strike gold, hopefully. I mean, there's been some drafts historically where there's been three like kind of main guys and one guy kind of falls out. D separates himself from the pack, you could say. But yeah, I mean, Nate Ament, he no consolation at four. I mean,
Mhm.
wow, like it's a good, great, one of the best ever on paper. Hopefully, top four ever.
Yeah, I look at Darren Peterson and I see an elite combo guard, someone who's maybe a little bit more polished. He could play in the NBA right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like people were saying he could play in the NBA last year when he was in high school.
Yeah,
So yeah, I that's my number one guy right now. But AJ Dibansta, just he's kind of reminiscent to an Andrew Wiggins in Kansas, like just a freak athlete that can score at will. And obviously Wiggins' NBA career hasn't been that elite number one overall pick that people may have thought, but I think Dibansta is just another level of what Wiggins was in his draft year. And then yeah, Cam Boozer, just powerful forward. Um, I it kind of speaks for itself. But I, you talked about a guy fizzling out or separating themselves outside of that top three going into the season. It reminds me a little bit of who was it? Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, and Cam Reddish, top three ranked prospects coming out of high school, but they all went to Duke. And obviously Barrett and Zion excelled, and then Cam Reddish kind of was the guy that fizzled out a little bit there. But all three of these guys are going to programs where they're going to be the go-to guy. So I don't see that happening. Like I see all three of these guys competing at an elite level for that number one pick this year.
yeah. And you bring up Cam Reddish, that hurts me. All right, I was a huge Cam Reddish fan going into that draft. He was actually my favorite player out of the three. I mean, I loved RJ Barrett as well because he's Canadian, but Cam Reddish, I mean, I'm Cam, he's Cam. I used to send him DMs on Instagram, but he never answered me back in grade 11. But, you know, always wanted to join Cam fam. Cam Reddish, I mean, unfortunately, looking back, the signs were kind of there with Cam Reddish. He had a bit of an attitude problem. I don't think he was a big fan of taking the back seat. But I mean, these three. I mean, I if anyone was to fizzle out, I have to say I think it would be AJ Depanta. His He has the most room for growth. I think he's the most raw out of the
Yeah.
three, but I don't think it will happen.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, like you said, I don't see that happening either. Okay, let's shift over to our last segment today, our Canadian Hooper highlight. And this week we're going to be highlighting Jamal Murray. We talked about him a bit earlier on, him and Jokic looking like that duo that won an NBA championship. Nuggets are 3-0 this past week. Murray has putting up 27.7 points per game, 4.7 assists and rebounds per game on 44% three-point shooting, and he led the team in points per game this week. Just an
Yeah,
unbelievable week from a guy who kind of has been a bit of a disappointment since the Nuggets went on that finals run. Since then, he hasn't been the same guy, and maybe this is a step in the right direction for him to get back to that level.
yeah, and I don't know what it is about Jamal Murray, but everyone seems to just overlook the fact that he came off a torn ACL and then won the championship. Obviously, a guy isn't going to be able to play at the same caliber every single year after tearing your ACL. I mean, the fact that he came back and won a championship in year one is ridiculous. Obviously, he wasn't the guy, but everyone seems to have forgotten that that happened to him. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about Jamal Murray that people forget. And even when he was on Team Canada, everyone was kind of giving him hate
Well,
because
he's
he
kind of
wasn't.
trash on Team Canada.
But exactly, you're proving my point. Why aren't we happy that Jamal Murray has decided to put on the Team Canada jersey, even if it's just to play a secondary role to Shea? Everyone expected him to come out and put up the same numbers that he put up with Jokic. He doesn't have a Jokic on Team Canada. He has a Shea, which doesn't complement his game as well. But why don't we be happy that he's wearing a Team Canada jersey? Everyone's like, dude, take the jersey off. You suck. I don't want you on the team. Well, that's why we're never going to win an Olympic medal because our fans are too critical.
Hey, as long as I don't care who suits up for Canada, as long as Trey Lyles never suits up for Canada again.
I'm hoping that Matherin will put the jersey on. I'm hoping that Wiggins will put the jersey on.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks needs to keep putting the jersey on because for
Oh
some
yeah.
reason he shoots over 50% from three in the FIBA Olympics. But
He's the best 3-and-D player in international ball when he puts on the Canada jersey.
I don't know what it is about some guys. I mean, even like this, he is not Canadian, but the obvious elephant in the room is Dennis Schroeder. Like when he puts on the Germany jersey, greatest of all time. When he puts on where I don't even know where he is right now. Bounces around the league. I want to say no, he's not in Brooklyn. He's I don't know. Connor, if Connor sees this, he'll be mad at me. But he puts on the NBA jersey and he's just another guy, which I don't know. I mean, I know the styles are different, but it's crazy to see that some guys can flip that much.
Well, you go back to last Olympics, Evan Fournier torched Canada.
Yeah. And Team USA was struggling for a little bit there. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember even against South Sudan in the actual Olympic game, they were pretty close until the fourth quarter when they finally pulled away. So it's very interesting. I don't know, maybe even the ball plays a factor, but it's definitely different to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're gonna be doing our Canadian Hooper highlight every week. I'd rather it not be like a legit star already, like a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or even a Jamal Murray's at that level. But when they're playing at an even higher level than expectation, we've got to highlight them. So good on Jamal Murray to be playing like this past week, and hopefully he can keep it up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, as a Canadian, I'll never complain when a Canadian's doing well, unless he's torching the Raptors.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, we'll wrap up there. Thank you for listening and watching to Ball Don't Lie. Check out some of our other shows on Horizon Media. We've got the Bench and the Bleachers right now. Obviously, we mentioned off the top of the show the World Series here. Jays going could win tonight, and so check out Bench and the Bleachers for some World Series updates and news across the MLB. And then we're going to be launching a couple new shows soon. We've got a football show, no title yet, but that'll be starting up sometime in the new year. And then a hockey show starting pretty soon too. So be sure to be on the lookout for those. And yeah, thank you for watching.